Amir. I'm originally born in Bosnia, former ex-Yugoslavia, as most people know. I was 8.5 when I left Bosnia. I went to Germany first. I lived in Germany for a couple of years. Then couldn't stay there, and my only option was coming here. So I took the chance to come over here, and when I moved over here to U.S., it was 1997, and it was like about 14 years old. And the reason I left Bosnia at that time was because the war broke out, and I couldn't go back because my area and where I used to live, and it's still occupied by this evil personnel, so-called, and I didn't want to go back, and that's why I came over here to the U.S. My parents came only with me. The rest of the family was in Bosnia, and they're still back there, and lost some people to the war that died during the war, but most of the family was still alive. And we left, and it was supposed to be like 14-day vacation, come back, and the war broke out. We couldn't come back at all. The borders were closed, so no more in, no more out. So that's it. Luckily, the Germans, they were nice enough to let us stay there, but once the war stopped and everything, they want to send us back, and we couldn't go back. So, like I said, that's why we're here. They were sad, especially my grandparents. Was really close. I was first grandchild, and they're the really ones that really were really upset. I mean, the rest of the family was upset too, but my grandparents got hit pretty hard with it. I went a couple of times back and forth. It's a little bit tough here. When you go back, you can't go like just for a week or two. You have to have like a month minimum off. But it's hard, you know, when you work here and stuff. Employers, they're not going to give you enough time, or they do, or you know. Well, I was a couple of times back. It was, you know, everybody's still alive. My parents still okay. I lost my grandfather a couple of years ago, but everything's still fine. Yeah, there are rituals for it. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend because companies here, it's like the rules here, you can leave. I mean, if you left the job, you'll lose your job and so forth. I couldn't go, but you know, in my mind, I was with him, so it was real difficult. But you know, I had to do what I had to do. It's still the same. We were all close even before I left, even now. Everything is the same, nothing has changed. But they wish I was able to come more often than I can. It takes a couple of years to go every time back. You know, you have to work hard with the employers itself. If they're going to allow you to go back, you know, that's the only main problem I have. So I have to. Takes a couple of years before I can go back. I talk to a lot on the phone, over via the internet service too. We see each other on, you know, live chats and so forth. So it's kind of like working around it, but it's still not the same when you're in person down there. But hey. In that time, it was a war going on. I mean, all the people that left behind. At that time, I was, you know, I would vote to move because it was a hell down there. Right. It was, you know, people getting killed everywhere. It was going on for a couple of years, innocent people for no reason. But if I had to vote, yes, I would vote to move. I mean, that would move the whole country out, leave the idiots to kill themselves, you know, right, between each other. But yeah, I would move definitely. Well, the reality is, when you're close to people, it's really tough. So if move back to, you know, immigrate to U.S. or some other countries, you know, who think they're going to do better, I have to be prepared for everything. I mean, it is hard. I mean, that's the worst thing you can do ever. You know, you leave everything behind. You have to learn. You leave your family behind. You have to learn another language. It is tough. So you have to be prepared for the worst.
Hi, my name is Trevor. We Me and my wife emigrated to America from England in 1984. The reason we emigrated was to hopefully give a better life for our children. The people that came, that we brought with us were our two children, Victoria, who was 12 at the time, and Sally, who was 11 months. And the people we left behind were mothers, fathers, sisters, uncles, aunties, the usual. Well, obviously they didn't want us to leave, you know. We were quite a close family and we spent a lot of time outside of work together, different functions. So it was kind of hard, knowing that we wouldn't be able to do that on a regular basis. It was a big decision. We were coming to a land that we didn't know. It was especially hard for our 12-year-old daughter, who had to you know, make a new life in school, make new friends, and that was very difficult. Obviously speaking a little bit differently with a different accent, and sometimes she got made fun of and people don't understand you and that kind of thing. It takes a while to adjust. From being fortunate enough to travel back to England every few years, it's mainly just telephone and internet. That's the communication that we use. When deaths occur or illness occurs, it's very, very difficult. Knowing that you can only go back maybe one time. Do you go back before the death occurs, or do you wait and go back to the funeral? You can't be tripping across backwards and forwards. So that's a difficult decision. Yes, we have had deaths. We have had a number of deaths. I had a sister, a mother. My wife had a mother and a father. So it was very emotional for her, especially as she was pregnant at the time with a third child. I think I would have still come. There is a little bit more opportunity out here for children. You know. You always think of your homeland as home, but after many years, you eventually start calling this home. When all your family is growing up, it would be very difficult to go back now, leaving all my children and husbands and grandchildren here. So I guess we would consider this home.
She lifts her skirt up to her knees, walks through the garden rows with her bare feet alive.